yes, back with Mark Hernandez, who has so much history
Hey.
with us. I love these stories. This is great. This is really, I hope you guys are enjoying this stuff because this is the meat and potatoes of the vault. This is what I like to do is get a guy in here and talk to them about how it ticked and what all the little intricacies that made it all tick. That's why we spend time in here. Like I was saying earlier, I don't have to go, well, Mark, it's been really great having you. We're out of time right now. So, yeah, we'll catch you next time, and we'll talk about more about this stuff. See you guys next on The Vault. It ain't like that. We tell the fucking story, and the story goes until the story's done.
Well, it's great because, like you said, it's a conversation. This is not an interview. We're
talking.
Be the same.
We talking.
When we got canceled last week, I spent a couple hours hanging out with him, just bullshitting,
Yeah, right. Just
man.
bullshit. Exactly.
He's like, wait, save it for the show. Save it for the show.
Just save it. So coming back in, I want to talk about you did a short stint with the Let Alone Testament. So we did, now you pretty much again. You didn't play Metallica or Exodus, but Death Angel too, right?
Death Angel, yeah.
But I think you got everybody else covered.
I think so, man.
And played with everybody from every other band anyway.
I think so. I think at some point I've,
Talk about what happened there. Testament.
Oh,
you got that?
Yeah, man. So with the Sepultura thing, I waited till the 11th hour, and again, man.
Boy, it was enticing though, wasn't it?
Fuck, that was
that
like,
lollipop tasting.
And all
good,
they were asking me to do was, do a run of like 30 days, you know what I mean? And I was like, but again, at the time it was like, I'm not going to tell you no, but I am going to say that if you go, you can't come back here. And it's like, I mean, what do you do? You know what I mean? So again, I think that's it, and woe is me, man, woe is me. And then, Chuck Billy calls me. I like fall upwards,
like,
man.
Boom, 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 boom. It's like if you wanted, you can't get out of the business if you wanted to, for Christ's sake.
Totally, man. I was like Antonio, man, like from
they're
the radio,
dragging me back in, like the Godfather,
Totally. And he's like, hey, Gene's busy. At the time, Gene was doing Death Clock.
He was doing Death Clock and Death and that stuff too.
Yeah,
right?
so Death Clock was out with Lamb of God, and and so he's like, we need someone to do this tour, and they were just about to drop Dark Roots, and it was the whole promotion tour over summer, hitting festivals like in July through August, hitting all the big festivals as a promotion for the new record, and again, I waited till the 11th hour, and finally I was like, I'm doing it. I'm fucking doing it, man. And lo and behold, I didn't get kicked out, right? But when I said I'd do it, it was great. I showed up, we did rehearsals, and a lot of that shit's trickier than people really think, especially when you're stepping into Gene Hoglan era. Paul Bostaph era, because they came off that huge the formation of
Damage.
The
hiatus of Formation.
I mean, dude, that's like some impeccable drumming. And then you add Gene Hoglan coming in on Dark Roots. It's like, that's the chunk of the material they're playing in. It's like, I really had my work cut out for me because, mind you, I had, a few years where I had just done nothing, And
right, you did. You kind of just went.
Yeah, I like disappeared.
I did. We do that. That's
it is, yeah. And it's like it's funny, man. It's like rock and roll calls, and you don't want to pick up the phone, but you're fucking doing it anyways.
Boy, you let it ring about 5 times, and then you grab it. And go, what? Okay, yeah, I'm down.
It's like severe FOMO.
I'm doing this.
And so we got all ready to do the tour, and then what happened with Randy, he got incarcerated, and that kind of put a kibosh on the tour. And my buddy Steve Harang, better known as Battery, that morning I'm showing up for the last rehearsal before we're leaving. He sends me a message. He's all, hey dude, so when's Hoagie showing up? And I'm like, well, if it happens, it happens. And so I walk into rehearsal that day, and I'm kind of joking around. I'm all, so what time's Gene showing up today? And Chuck's kind of like, like this kind of little chuckle. And then, sitting down, warming up, and then Eric's over by his guitar, and Chuck sits on the stairs at their rehearsal place, and he's like, so we got to talk about something. And, Gene's on his way out. He's going to be here this evening. And so, we don't, he's going to do the tour. He's able to do the tour. And I'm like, again, just like back in with the other stuff, it's like, that's fucking great.
This has happened to me twice. Don't even, you know.
Right? Yeah. And I'm like,
3 times a charm.
well, this is great. You know, I mean, that, in my opinion, that's who should be doing the tour. He's your drummer, you know? And it was like, well, that's awesome, you know? And Charlie, man, that dude is 100% professional, superhuman being. You know what I mean? He was like, look, and this is anybody who.
That's why that ship runs the way it does.
It does. And, you know, anybody who thinks otherwise, I'm here to tell you that's not true. This
They
guy
don't know.
He was like, dude, you put in a lot of time. You rehearsed with us. You got ready.
Paid for it.
We're going to pay you for the tour.
Damn right.
And I was like,
that's the man he is.
wow.
That is how he rolls.
Yeah, seriously. And I was like,
I know
dude,
that.
you know, I didn't expect that. I was like, well, here we go, you know, but
He's a class act.
he is a class act. And, you know, so they went out and they did the tour. But what happened is, you know, there was some crossover again, you know, with Gene. So they needed a guy to do some stuff in late December, you know, late December, early January. And so he called me again, and I was like, yeah, I'm totally down to do it, man. So we did a run in England.
So you actually did
I did,
you
yeah.
finally got to
I
play.
finally got to play with them. We did some shows in England. Then we did Ireland. Came back, did one in Holland at the Dynamo Club, and then went to Russia. You know, and it was like, man, I'd never been to Russia. You know, and here it was. You know, I'm with a mighty testament.
Moscow?
We did
St. Petersburg?
Yes,
Great
both.
place.
And it was like, whoa, you know what I mean? And
The
it
whole
was,
city's a monument. It's just a museum, the whole city.
mind you, we're in the dead of fucking winter, right? So, you know, it's not the ideal time to be there, but
No.
dude, it was fantastic and treated me amazing the whole
That's how
time.
they do it.
They do. You know what I mean?
They're
That ship
professional.
runs like,
They are a fucking class act. They run their organization as a class act. I mean, I've written lyrics on every record
Yeah,
since, well, for a long time, but at least since the first one that they came back with, More Than Meets the Eye.
the formation.
Formation. I've have something on every record.
And you know, and I think that happened because I mean, I feel like Testament has been like the Spinal Tap of drummers, right? You know, like they
have. They really have.
And Craig will tell you that Forbidden is like the training ground for Testament's drummers, right?
Oh, maybe.
Because they had Steve Jacobs do some
Right.
fill-in,
Yeah, that's
Bo
right.
Staff, you know,
Oh,
myself.
yeah.
And even Gene did, before I joined
Sure.
Forbidden, Gene
Yeah.
did a run of shows with Forbidden.
Yeah, he plays with.
You know,
Craig.
but he wasn't able to do the gig.
He's
So,
such a busy man.
yeah, I mean, he is the atomic clock.
Atomic clock. He's the atomic clock.
And so then they had one more show in India after the first of the year, you know, and it was like, you know, it was that flight, Zet, that when I'm taking it, we're flying first class, and I'm like, if it ends tomorrow, this is pretty fucking good, man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that. And it kind of did. You know, I was slated to do some more. They went out with Anthrax, and I was slated to do some more with him. But again, Gene's schedule opened up. He was able to do it. And, you know, I went about getting into exercise and swimming and all this other shit to deal with, you know, not playing music. So, you know, it wasn't up until recently, you know, with, you know, reconnecting with Craig that, like, music became even an option for me. Because it was such a toxic thing, because the way my life revolved around music and things involved with music, it was like a hot stove. You know what I mean? I touched it 2, 3, 4 times, and like, now I
burns
know
you every fucking
it
time.
burns me. Yeah, I know better. So I was
Yeah.
kind of like, well, that's all right. You know what I mean? Again, I've done more than 90% of my peers. I'm good with that.
And then some.
Yeah.
I mean, if you close the book is written. It's a thick one too, bro.
Yeah.
And it's not done.
No, it's not.
It's not
and,
done.
and you know, thank you, dude, for, you know, you're changing my perspective on a few things too. You know.
See, a lot that since the few hours we've been here, we've learned some stuff here. But now I want to get into
Dress the Dead.
Dress the Dead and talk about how you play in that. And then this is a Craig Cicero baby, definitely.
It is. And so
is.
there was some healing to be done there, you know, and the first time I had met with Craig, you know, I think he was open to it, but reluctant at the same time, you know what I mean? Because we've had a touring relationship and a writing relationship that a lot of creativity comes out of a lot of contempt, You know what I mean? There's something about it where there's that love-hate, that, man, I love you, fuck you kind of deal that created a lot of good music, you know? And at the end, it kind of came fuck you, you know, and it didn't end very well, you know, even though he was still very respectful of how all that ended. You know what I mean? Like, he could have trashed me. He could have totally gone the other way, but he didn't. You know, and I'm grateful for that.
I think he respected your position that you were going through in that time, and anybody with a family and know that situation, I think it's, you know, you kind of got to back off of that and let the guy, you know, well, you know, this is not everything. This, it's not everything. You know what I mean? People seem to think it is, you know, because if you're a musician's fan, you're a music fan, and, you know, metal is your life, and the bands, your life is bred by, you know, listening to these bands, you know, and it might, I hate to say it like this, but sometimes it's more important to the fans than the bands are, than they actually come. They are to us, you know what I mean? Because we've been living it for so long, you know what I mean? And it's a different way to look at it, you know what I mean?
Well, there's no illusion for us. We're in it.
Yeah.
Right? So this is real life, and this is fantasy over here. So, you know, like what they see is not
really how it goes. And it's the truth.
You know, that you got 5 guys and a crew sometimes living on a bus, you know, living in tight spaces.
Sometimes 2 bands on the same
and
bus
it's
for 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere to go where there isn't a person in a 5 feet proximity of you.
Yeah.
And that means you could be sleeping in your bunk and everybody's quiet, but you still got a guy here, you got a guy here, you got a guy here, you got a guy here. Yeah. When you're at home, you have your own room and you have your own house, and it's definitely different.
It is. And, you know, so we sat down and we talked for probably 2.5 hours, man, outside of Starbucks in Hayward, you know. And the cool thing about it was that, as you know, I'm sitting there and I'm making amends to him about how I handled everything, and, you know, wanting to just make sure that I clean up my side of the street with him. You know, he was forthright and open and owned his part too, which was quite amazing. You know, it's like, hey, you know, but this was me, I did this. And it was like, wow. And instantly all that stuff kind of melted away, you know. And one of the last things he said, he was like, hey, you know, and maybe, you know, the door's open for us to play music again. And it was like, you know, that would be cool, man, because I think we did some really cool stuff together, and left it at that. And, you know, he had been writing these songs, and with Peter Dolving in mind to sing them. And so, you know, it wasn't even but maybe 2 weeks after that, seriously, he called and he was like, hey, you know, been thinking about it. Why don't you want to get together and jam? I've got some songs. And I thought, well, let me think about it. Give me a few days, you know, and really sit on it, if that's something that I can bring back into my life. You know what I mean? And so I did, and we went down there, and dude, let me tell you, we're laughing because Battery has video. He went there. We used his studio in San Jose, and it was pitiful, man. I watched that video now, and just, it was like a newbie playing drums. Like my double bass is like,
oh yeah,
you know, I'm like,
because you were so not.
Oh, dude, I was way out of shape. Yeah,
you were not conditioned.
And you know, and God bless Craig. He's like, yeah, but I know where you can be. You're like, I'm not worried about that. Like, it's just working this out. So we continued to do that, and, you know, he brought James Walker in, who I'd never played with before, but is a great bass player, you know. And then Dan DeLay from Drawing Heaven, who brought all these textures in, you know. We got together at the Soundwave in a small room and jammed it out, and it was like, it was fun. You know what I mean? Because at the end, it wasn't fun.
Right.
It wasn't fun at all.
I know that.
And, you know, to have that excitement again, like I was 15, you know, in my first band, I was like, dude, when are we getting together again, you know?
Right.
And it had that electricity again. And so, you know, we just continued to write, and we went in, you know, Rob had an interest in it. He liked what was going on. He liked Peter Dolving, and, you know.
Love Peter.
I'd never heard Peter Dolving. I wasn't a Haunted fan, but then.
I love the Haunted. I love Marcos, but I love Peter too.
When he turned me on to it, I was like, wow, this guy's our singer. You know what I mean? It was like, this is going to be amazing. You know what I mean?
Singer.
And just his content, you know, and his phrasing. Sometimes it hangs over. It's not where traditionally you would think the cadence would be. You're like, this is great. It's creative. So, you know, we went in with Rob pro bono wanted to record us and do the demos. So we did some tracks. He helped kind of massage them and edit them down to like, what are you trying to say here? Because we're metal. We can be a little long-winded, you know what I mean? Self-indulgent, like, oh, I really like this part. We should probably do this 3 or 4 times. Well, fuck, Exodus is the king of like, one more round on that,
Believe me. Sometimes I'm like, it sounds fun.
But the riffs are so killer, dude. I made a determination a long time ago. I think Gary like writes Beating Around the Bush. Like he just rewrites that song over and over again in a different form. It's like, it's just fast, heavy AC/DC, and I love that, man.
From what I understand is we're going to do that song. It's funny you say that as a B-side for the new record. We've got a couple of weeks to do it. And,
awesome.
And it's funny you said that, but Tom called me a couple of days ago. We're doing a bunch of B-sides, and me and Gary only want to do Beating Around the Bush. It's like, now that you say that, it's like, I never thought about it like that before. Every Exodus song is fucking beating around the bush. I didn't know that. So, see, now you enlightened me on this. See, this is therapy here.
Rob came in. He worked with Pete, and when we heard it, man, especially Promises and Kisses, because what had happened, we're like, we cut up a lot. You know what I mean? Like we poke barbs, happy, just at each other in the rehearsal studio. You know what I mean? Like we don't cut no slack, and you got to grow thick skin if because it's always something about this, something about that, something about that. Just busting chops. And I remember Craig saying Peter was coming into town, and we were like really excited. Fuck yeah, dude, we're gonna meet Peter. And he was like, dude, don't act the way you act. Let him get used to how you guys are before you like
unload on him.
Yeah, we're like, fuck that, man. We're gonna be who we are. And the minute we sat down and we had dinner, it was like we just all clicked. He has life experience, like we have life experience. Yes, he does. You know what I mean? Like he has love, he has loss, he has tragedy, he has all these things that we all share, and it all came together, and it was like, this is how it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Effortless. And, when I first heard Promises and Kisses when he laid it down, I mean, I had like an emotional reaction to it because I could feel his pain and knowing what he's talking about. Like I could feel that coming through, and I was like, again, here we go. This one's going to be good. You know what I mean?
We are. Boy, if I never felt it before, I'm feeling it again. This is the one.
Yeah. And Rob was really stoked on it and putting a lot of effort into it, man. You know what I mean? Like he really took it upon himself to make sure that this was solid. And, we got the Death Angel Christmas shows. I mean,
I remember that.
For a new band to get that show 2 sold-out nights, like, unheard of.
It was brothers doing brothers favorites.
It was solid, dude. It was great. So solid. And, it was fantastic because we did that and we got a great reaction. And, then not even 2 months later, dude, we wake up to a Facebook post that our singer fucking tried to kill himself.
Yeah, right. He freaked out.
And it freaked out. And we're like, whoa, I mean, it completely caught us from...
He was actually staying in a motorhome outside of Craig's house, correct?
Yeah.
He had moved from Sweden.
No, he was just here. It was Jimmy's motorhome. Jimmy's like the king of toys, right? And so he was staying here in the motorhome while he was working with us. And, after he went home and, we had this thing, of course, because of who's involved in it, Nuclear Blast, they want first refusal on it.
Sure.
So they hear it, it's Peter Dolving. It's like some of his best stuff that he's done, and you've got Craig Zetro, who's got pedigree, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So there's something to this collaboration. And so, we had this song Knives Out, which is like a lot of his screaming and intensity and I'm not sure how that played out, but I think that, from my understanding, he has to go to this really dark place to bring that out, and that's just not a comfortable spot for him, and
so it was a more detriment for him to get to that dark
absolutely
spot. Wow.
And so, I think that and just this whole thought of, because he was much like me, like, it's day-to-day basis. Let's see where it goes, you know what I mean? And now all of a sudden there was a record label that wanted to get involved, and, you know, there were certain criteria we needed to meet so that the record label would be accepting of it, had to be heavy, had to, you know, and it's like there's all this stuff happening, you know, and I think it started to lose sight of what was special about it.
Right.
Which was just us, let's just jam and give us a riff and let's see what happens.
And then it turned into the business.
Yeah, and so when that happened, we were kind of like, wow, you know, and it actually happened on my birthday. You know what I mean? So you wake up to find out that, you know, there's this huge long diatribe, and you find out that this guy that you formed this short but actually very deep connection with has, like, you know, attempted suicide and, like, is, you know, like saying the music business he's done with, it's over, he's not doing it, and you're kind of like, whoa, what do we do? And we all reached out like, bro, what can we do to help? And he was at that time like, nothing. Like, there's nothing you can do.
Was he home or was he here?
He was.
He was home.
He was home with his wife, and you know, it's like, for me, it's like the crazy hot scale. It's like the torture and the art, right? Like, how much to get that great art? How much are you tortured? You know?
Right.
And so, to have him be in a bad space is not something I would want for anybody.
No.
You know?
Not for what it, you know, like for the cause. For what it's not worth it. It's
totally
just not. I mean, for everybody else to be selfish and go, no, fuck you, hang in here.
Yeah.
It's really not.
It's not cool.
It's not.
It's not
gonna,
bad.
And you know what? It's going to affect him or you guys down the road at some point. You might as well, you know, deal with that and live with it now.
And it was, you know, it was in hindsight, and we all talked about it. We got together, we had dinner, because we were kind of like trying to wrap our heads around it. What the hell happened, man? And it was like, in hindsight, it was good that it imploded at the time, rather than when we had all this shit in line, because, you know, we dealt with that before.
Sure.
Having all these ducks in a row and commitments, and then
bye-bye.
Boom, you know? So we decided, you know, dude, I like you. Let's just jam. You know, let's keep playing, see what happens. You know, we went for almost a year without a singer.
Right.
And that's how much we believed in what we were doing. And the great thing about it is that, as you know, is like when there's no commitments or no things you have to meet this, you have to do this, you have to do this.
There's
and
no
you're
criteria.
You're just able to be
meet it.
creative.
Right.
It's the best space to be in.
It's the funnest.
And we're there again right now with this whole COVID
That's
thing.
great.
We've just been writing like crazy.
Good. I hope many bands are.
And it's amazing. You know, so for that whole 8-9 months without a singer, we came up with this great material. We were able to hone it and jam it and have a good time. You know what I mean? And, you know, and then Kayla just dropped out of the sky. It seems like she just dropped out of the sky. You know what I mean?
She's been in the band like 3 years now, right?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
3 years.
Yeah. And, you know, it was like, I was open to it at first, you know, I mean.
Now, she sings in another, she doesn't live in the Bay Area, right?
No, she lives in Oregon.
Oregon, right.
And she's the singer for Witch Mountain as well.
Witch Mountain, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And, you know, the cool thing is that she's able to shine in 2 different arenas, because they're 2 different styles of singing, 2 different bands, you know, 2 different genres. So when, you know, we'd been working with someone at the time, and, you know, for me, as much effort as we had put in, you know what I mean? Like the whole 8-9 months of like continuing to jam, continuing to write, continuing to pay rent and do all these things, you know, like to say, I believe in this, to work and to only get someone that's, you know, at best 90%, I wasn't into that. You know what I mean? I was like, it's been 9 months. We can't find anybody. And what we're doing now is, it's just okay. You know what I mean? I thought we were really cool with Peter Dolving. You know, like, dude, we were a cool band. You know what I mean? And so I remember coming into rehearsal, and Jimmy and I, we commute together. And I'm coming in, and Craig's on the ground messing with this stuff. And I was like, I told Jimmy, I was like, you know, dude, I think I'm going to call it. Like, I can't do it. If it's at 90%, I can't do it. You know, because I enjoy it too much to be half-assed about it. So I remember walking in the door, and we're like, hey, and he's like, before you say anything, I have a singer. And we're like, oh, okay. And so he said, you know, gave us the backstory how our friend Jim had hooked up. You know, he'd seen Kayla before and said, you know, you guys should meet. And he's like, here's, you know, it's Kayla Dixon, here's her name, and look her up on YouTube. And I saw this video of her, and I was like, are you kidding? Like, she wants to come sing for the band? Get her out here right now, And it was great because there was that energy again, you know what I mean? That excitement. And so she came out on a Sunday night. We got together. And much like with you coming in, you know what I mean? She sang the songs, and it was like, I'm good. Like,
wow,
I'm good. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I was convinced right then and there. She hit everything. She hit the cadence. Because some of our stuff, though it sounds like it's straight 4/4, it's not. And so to put the effort to sing it, I was like, I'm good. We don't need to look, And that's kind of where it started at that point, you know what I mean? Gave us a new life again.
Where are we at now? I know you can't talk because there's probably deals on the thing.
We are
How's it looking?
We are about to close in on a distribution deal, which will be great. So that will allow us the music that we've already cataloged and recorded to start releasing that, to get it out there. Because, one of the things is like we have this great song, 1969, that's like really speaks to what's going on in the political climate and just in the world right now, right? You know what I mean? Very anthemic. And so we want to drop this song, but at the same time, it's about making sure that all the ducks are lined up. You know what I mean? Maximum impact for what we're doing. So right now,
there's no certainty right now on what to do.
Fucking A, man.
We're going in the next couple of weeks. People know we're going to record in the new Exodus. We don't have a release in front of us. In fact, this is the first time we're going to go record a record with an open window where we don't go starts, finishes. Yeah. We could just keep going if it turns into that, which is going to be kind of cool.
Well, dude, for your guitar players, that's dangerous because
could be very
both him and Lee, right? They're like, oh, no, we got another part. We're going to shove another riff in this song.
Believe me, I know. I know these things. So I could see that with yourself having time now to, and going, okay, look, this is really special, and we want it to be really special. So what are we going to do now? We don't know when nobody's ever run into this before.
Yeah. And so, in the interim, we got the singer, we were starting to get momentum. All the shows we were playing, I mean, it was great because we'd be support act, but we would be a draw. And it was like, there's something to this. And, she's a big part of that. Like, the thing about it is that on our own, neither one of us is like super amazing, but together.
Sure you are.
You know what I mean?
Don't sell yourself short.
No, I don't mean it like that, but it's like I thought we were.
That's why people are coming to check it out.
Well,
That's why there's an attention about it. You know what I mean? They want to see what.
But I thought we were cool with Peter Dolving. I told my girlfriend the other day. I was like, I thought we were really cool, and we were. I mean, that stuff I still listen to. I'm like, we were good.
But you're just as cool,
but
Kayla.
We were, yeah. You know what I mean? And just as cool, if not cooler.
Maybe even cooler.
You know what I mean? Because she, for being so young, she fucking brings it, bro. But that's the cool thing. Like I say, I'm not selling us short. What I'm saying is that our experience and our way of writing and playing music and her way of singing and writing melodies together makes something that is unique. You know what I mean? Where as a part, you just have two very cool things, but together you actually have something that's like, okay, let's see where this can go, And right now we lost our guitar player. Mikey's been in the band a year.
Wow.
I know. And it's like,
wow.
I know. And having Mikey Rowan, who was in Insolence,
Insolence.
Whoa. You know what I mean? It was like this whole new lease on life again. It's like, we lose somebody, we're like, well, fuck, that's it, man. And then, we get this insurgent of energy, and we've got like 5 or 6 new tunes just in the last month with no criteria, no goal.
It's kind of cool, but it'll wane on the pocketbook here for some of us in a minute if it doesn't get moving.
Yeah, absolutely. But with, just getting in the studio a couple times a week, there's no pressure.
Right.
No one's saying,
no
fuck.
Gigs. There's no,
and that's a
no
big deal.
Because
that's a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, we got this gig, so we can't work on new material. We got to run through the set. Like, no, we just come in, and sometimes it'll be someone just playing a riff, and we just start jamming, and we play for a half hour. we're recording it. That was a cool riff. Let's work on that riff. Let's work on that riff, and just let it go, the way it should be. I think organic.
Yes. Well, that's the natural way, right?
Yeah. Well, then you have the riff master. I mean, Craig Zetro. I mean, dude, the guy. I haven't heard a shitty riff out of that guy ever.
He writes riffs. He's a riffer.
He is.
That's right.
And one of the things is, no matter how cool the riff is, he will sit and spend time and make it cooler.
He's a true, he's a true musician.
He is.
He's a true, how do you say it? Production of his class. You know what I mean? I don't know. He really knows. He's his own entity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you get from Craig. When you hear Craig, you know it's Craig. You know what I mean? So that in itself is alone. So I think definitely an isolated individual. That's that when you hear it, you go, oh, that's him.
Yeah.
You know him.
And it's a great mix of. I mean, it really is, because trust me, we've got some thrashers. You know what I mean? We've got some.
Of course you do.
fast stuff.
You have to. You better.
Yeah.
You better.
But then we can also, you can put you on the dance floor and shake your ass. You know what I mean? It's like the best of both worlds. We can can bring the chicks in, and we can bring the dudes in.
Yeah, we're still not bringing the chicks in necessarily. Yeah, they are.
What was the best slogan you guys ever had on a shirt? 4 albums and still no ballad.
4 albums, still no ballad. I came up with that actually. It was in a rant or something like that. That was cool. We dug that. That was so Exodus.
Yeah, totally.
Let us know where we can get. I got to let you go because you have been here for quite some time.
Yeah.
Let us know where we can get this stuff, where we can get any new music from you guys. I mean, Dress the Dead. If you did not know, Mark Hernandez, Craig Zetro, they are doing this thing, and it's amazing girl. I love her. I love, like you said, Peter Dolvin stuff was so awesome.
Yeah.
But Kayla just came in and nailed it. She really did.
Yeah.
And she's her own piece of the band, if that makes sense. She's not trying to be somebody or trying to be Peter. She came in with her own entity and became the actual front person, singer of your band, with 2 guys that are really heavy hitters in the band. You know what I mean? And she kind of came in and said, "Give me that thing." So good job.
It's
girl.
great.
If you're watching this, good job, girl.
So dressthedead.com, man. You hit her up our Facebook page, our YouTube page. We got cool swag. As you can see, Zetro has
so
one.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's I was like, horror shirt. Look at the crows. Man of my own heart. We know that, right?
Hell
and
yeah.
Let's talk about your shirt. Look at Killer Clowns, Killer Kiss Clowns from outer space,
right?
Rock and Roll Over.
Zet was eyeing me. He wasn't.
I've been this whole interview just staring at that fucking shirt. That's the kind of stuff. My P.O. box, Wayne. Put it here now. And don't forget, or they'll put a dunce cap up here and I'll look stupid. So send me stuff like that. I know that.
Yeah, we got to come back and talk about the Killian on Command.
We're going to do that. That's what I'm saying. I was going to save that. What I'm going to do is I think I'm going to get you, our producer, Wayne. Let's get a couple of people here on the same day. And that had to do with that. I know Craig did and Mark did. And we'll just talk.
Scotty, we've got
we'll just get Killian and talk.
Roundtable, do it live.
Okay, well, we can do that. We'll round table it and do it live.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And do it live, and we'll talk Killian on Command because we didn't get into that, which was a big part of it, but I pretty much wanted to just get into you, into everything.
The metal world can almost thank the Reunion of Violence for that show.
Oh, they can definitely thank the Reunion of Violence for that show.
Hey, man. That was a
good night. No, we're gonna bring him in and talk about that. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
This has been so much fun.
It's great to see you.
Great to see you. I'm great to come in and really tell the story like it is, because I'm going to get 4 good episodes for all the fans out of this that are definitely interested.
Cool.
I mean, people are enamored with what we did in the Bay Area and that we're still doing this stuff here. So I love this kind of stuff. You guys leave me comments because I know you will. I left you a ton of fucking material to comment on this interview. And obviously, subscribe if you have not. Please share the channel. And we're going to do this. I'm going to go do the Exodus record. And then when I come back, can I get you? It'll be cooler by then in the vault. We can do a round table and we'll talk on just. We'll get Sean in here as well and talk about it with him sitting here and all those. That'll be fun, huh? We'll round table that.
Dude, that would be fantastic.
Then let's do that. Wayne, put this on. I'm telling you, and then people were blaming Wayne. This is on him. That's what producers do.
Awesome.
Thank you once again.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you for having you guys. You know what to do. And we'll just keep these interviews coming as the pandemic goes on. I'm going to keep getting more Bay Area guys in here to talk more heavy metal and more history and more stories and all of those things that count. All those people that we did and we're interested in, right?
That's it.
We'll see you guys real soon. Thanks for coming in.